We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You are listening to The Underground Marketing Conspiracy, a secret ritual where entrepreneurs acquire highly classified and confidential business knowledge that the top 1% of income earners don't want you to know. And now, your host, Maddie Milligan.
What is going on, my fellow conspirator and conspirators? Welcome to The Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Woo! Let's talk about my social strategy for 2020. I've thought about this a lot recently, just in terms of my time, and eventually I will get a social media manager and just show them what I do, and I'm sure they'll have tips on improving the entire process. But I want to give you the gist of what I'm going to be focusing on in 2020. So I plan, first of all, on recording a podcast episode every single day of the year. What I'm going to do is, in some cases, I'm going to bulk report. Recently, over the last few days, because this is the third episode of the year, I've just been recording them early on in the day, uploading them to Libsyn, blasting it out everywhere, and that's been my general strategy. But I would like to upload a new episode every single day for an entire year. If I can't get a guest on for that specific day to provide some insight or value, then it's just going to be me speaking and me bulk recording those episodes and then scheduling them at the right time. Additionally, for the podcast, I have some awesome guests coming up. I have Ernest Epps, who is one of the best at e-com in the entire world, and he sells mostly high-ticket e-com products, right? Stuff where it's minimum $300 or $400 per product, in some cases thousands of dollars for products that he just sells on Shopify stores. Absolutely great with Google Shopping, like one of the best I've seen. So really excited to have him on sometime next week. And then I have Lisanne Marie as well, who's a Facebook ads expert. I'm going to be having her on in a few weeks. And what I'm going to do is, now that I have many interviews, I've built an email list of people who I want to have on guests. And I've used a couple of tools, mainly hunter.io, to find their email addresses. And then I send them this template that it's hard for people not to open it when they see the subject line. But they get that, they open it, and then, yeah, they inevitably book a call with me. And I've really warmed up my email in terms of response rates, so it's hard for me to get flagged at this point for spam. So that's kind of what I'm going to do with my podcast this year. Other things that I'm really going to be focusing on is a lot more engagement as well. So just engaging in Facebook groups with people. From there, they'll visit my profile, go back to the Facebook group that I'm going to create. Right now, it's my podcast on my Facebook page, but I think I'm going to change that to the Facebook group I'm going to create, because that way in that group, I can do whatever really I want. So when I create content, it's like, hey guys, I just created a new podcast episode. Check it out. Hey guys, I just did this Instagram post. Hey guys, I just did a new YouTube video. Hey guys, new blog post. Whatever that is, provided in that group. At the same time, I can do lives and Q&A. I can do funnel audits for people where they can send me their web pages, they can send me their emails, they can send me their offers, and I can be like, this is okay, but you know what? You should do this instead. Benefit of doing that too is, when I do come out with a course, which I've been considering doing, I've been considering creating a copywriting course as well, and selling it for not that inexpensively at first, like maybe a few $100s, just for people who are just starting out. And then I'll do that for, I think, maybe the first 6 months to a year, and then raise the price. And then raise the price again. And that's kind of my goal with that copywriting course, because I've taken many copywriting courses at this point. I've read all the books. I've done and written lots of copy myself. So I feel that I'm qualified at this point to really just put out a course on that. And again, maybe the price one will be like, I don't know, $300, $400 US, something like that, really just to get started out. And it would talk about everything, right? Not just like how to write sales letters. It would be how to do social media posts, how to be polarizing as well as one thing, how to be funny, how to write ads, how to write emails, all the different structures that I've really spent the last 4 or 5 years learning about. I'm really just going to talk about that in that course. But Instagram is one thing where I just see how busy it is. And in fact, one of the people I follow online, Rachel Peterson, who's the queen of social media, she's like, I'm not doing Instagram anymore. I'm going to post on stories from time to time, but she's going to focus on TikTok. Now, you might think that TikTok is only for 14 and 15-year-olds and maybe just teenagers, right? I posted a video the other day, my third video ever, and it has over I'll open my phone. It has over 20,000 views on this one video and lots of engagement. So it's actually not that difficult, I think, with this new platform. And it got me like 60 something follows. Yeah, so it is actually 25.4 thousand views at this point. I've never had any video on any platform do that well. A very simple video that took me maybe 10-15 minutes to record, where it was just some comedy bit. It was like, how cold is Canada? It was some stand-up comedian, and I just filmed myself doing a reaction, put it up there, added a couple of hashtags just to test it out, and boom, it went. A lot of people viewed it, right? And I'm not an especially good-looking person. I mean, on TikTok, you see these women where they're glammed up, wearing tons of makeup, they have their hair done, they're trying to look super cute, and obviously they get a lot of views because they're good-looking people. Yeah, I'm kind of an average-looking dude. I'm pretty short, too. I'm only 5'6". And even in the video, I haven't shaved for a couple of days. I'm wearing a hat and this blue shirt. So, but I just saw this and I'm like, wow, okay. Like, I remember back in the day when I saw TikTok and it was Musical.ly, and Gary Vee was like, oh, everyone needs to get on Musical.ly, and it was all these people doing lip sync videos, and I tried that a couple times and I was like, this isn't working that well. And now that I understand TikTok, after really watching a lot of their content over the holidays and just being like, okay, how does this work? Like, what kind of videos are getting the best reactions? Like, which sounds are people using that are getting the most engagement, and then making a list of those, and then gradually just creating one of those posts every single day, right? Maybe at some point I do 2 posts per day, but for now it's really 1 post. On Instagram, though, I'm still going to be on there. Like, my Instagram strategy is I created this template that has my blue branding colors, so I've created that, and then I'm just going to post once per day, have a quick caption, post that on Instagram, and then maybe I'll post it on Facebook as well, but it's really just going to be I'm not going to have anything link and automatically post like I previously did, just because I know when you do that, it automatically, when Facebook sees it, for example, and it's shared from Instagram, it's automatically going to have less reach than if you just posted it directly to Facebook. And again, I'm sure in the future I'll have a social media manager where I'm just like, hey, here's how I do everything. Go out, do all this, and I'm sure they can work with me and we can figure it out. But that's really my strategy, as well as just sharing how my day is going on my Facebook stories. One cool thing I learned is if you want to get a lot of engagement on your stories, this is a neat trick. So with your Instagram stories, when you're actually loading it after you've recorded whatever it is, they give you the option to add some things to there. Hold on, I'm just opening up Instagram so I can give you guys the right thing. So yeah, at the top there's this little happy face thing, and when you click on it, it gives you these other options like location, mention, hashtag, time, poll, GIF, questions, countdown, happy meter, a bunch of stickers, whatever. But I think those top 3 are the most important. So when you do post, add your location, mention someone maybe if they're relevant to the post, because maybe they'll see it, and again, maybe they'll share it and it'll show up in their story as well. And then add a hashtag. And then what I like to do is I take them and make them as small as possible, and then I take a block of text and then put it over that, so people don't even see it, right? But somehow it's still going to show up under that hashtag in that location, and maybe even that under that mention. So that's a little trick that I've learned recently, and I tested that out, and yeah, the reach was a lot better. Like, we're talking 15 up to 20 times more reach when you just do little things like that. Because when you think about it, people will search, maybe based on location, they'll search on a specific hashtag, or they're following certain locations or hashtags. And if a few people watch yours and they engage with it, maybe they reply to it or they like it, whatever it is, it's just going to reach more people, right? You're really working with the Instagram algorithm. And then for YouTube, I'm actually in the process of, I figured out what I want to do. So I really appreciate if people sent me their questions that they have on social media, entrepreneurship, business, marketing, sales, copywriting, advertising, web design, UI, UX, e-commerce, coaching, consulting, service providers, really any of those topics, and maybe a few others, and maybe even some fun life topics, self-help and other things, right? Just any question you have. Maybe even you like hockey and you want to ask me about the best team in the entire world, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe you have a question about that. I just want you to send them, right? Send them to undergroundmarketingconspiracy@gmail.com, and I'll go ahead and answer those on my new show, Dear Maddie. And I called it Dear Maddie because if you've ever read these columns back in the day, they're called Dear Abby. I was like, I just had that epiphany one day where I'm like, well, what if I created one called Dear Maddie? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these questions. I'm going to go on a walk in the morning once per week, maybe even a couple times, and just record myself answering these questions. I've seen a couple of other YouTubers do this, and they're pretty successful. And then it really just gives you some cool titles you can have, like some clickbaity thumbnails in YouTube, as well as a clickbaity title where people are just like, what? Like, I want to know what this guy's opinion is on all these weird things, right? So they send you from there. Again, they watch the video. Of course, at the end, I'll have a call to action where it's like, hey, and if you want to learn more about me, just go to MaddieMilligan.com, or if you want to listen to my podcast, go to undergroundmarketingconspiracy.com. But that's kind of my overall strategy for YouTube. I've thought about, it'll be kind of vloggy for the Dear Maddie videos. Again, I'm just putting it all together in my mind. I'm hoping that I can record one of the episodes over the weekend and then just release it on Monday. I haven't really figured out the time yet. Maybe it'll be on Saturday, because I know the videos I've seen from YouTube that get the most engagement are usually released at noon on Saturdays or Fridays. So maybe I will do that. Maybe starting with Monday might be a good idea just for people to start out the week, but I haven't had that all figured out. But it's something, again, where if I just create one of those episodes once per week for an entire year, I'm sure I'll get a lot of traction. I've also thought about doing other business topics as well, like specifically copywriting things, again, which would lead to my copywriting course eventually. But that's something where I haven't figured that out as well. And I have a bunch of other ideas. Like, I was thinking of creating a show called Funnel Freaks, where I sit down with other people and we build funnels together, like people who are designers or copywriters or whatever, and we try and build a funnel in an hour, like an entire funnel, web pages, emails, offer, all of that good stuff within an hour. But these are just some ideas I had. And then I thought about just having one main show and then having the segments for all those other things in the main show. Because I know a lot of shows I see on TV from back in the day, that's what they would do, right? When you look at a lot of late night shows, that's kind of the format that they do, where it's one show, but then it has smaller segmented parts of that. And then from there, you can just create those little clips, and you can even create a separate YouTube channel that's dedicated just to the smaller, shorter clips if they're like under a minute or so. But that's kind of my overarching social media strategy. But I think one of the things is that, sure, you're putting out content, but it's really about engaging. Gary Vee talks a lot about his 2-cent or $1.80 strategy, where you go maybe once or twice per day on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or TikTok, and you just engage with people. Like, watch their content and then leave a good comment. Don't just leave like awesome, or leave like a 3 like fire emoji, flame emojis on there as a comment. That doesn't really work. Showing that you actually watch their content and you have an opinion about it, and maybe it's polarizing and maybe it goes viral. That's one thing. In this Facebook group, I put this post out yesterday called The Truth About Logos, where I'm like, yeah, logo doesn't really matter. Like, you need to, it's not really great unless I think I said something like, you need to, focus on your logo after you've hit 7 figures, then get a good designer and create, spend a bunch of money on creating a long-term logo. And a lot of people were upset about that, especially designers. But that's just what I feel. And in some cases, products don't even need logos right away. And again, I think that your offer and knowing your avatar and really having good copy is the most important part of anything. Again, all the courses I've taken talk about this. They rarely talk about how important your logo is. In a lot of cases, they're like, yeah, like, go to logo once you hit $100,000. Then, in the meantime, just use your garbage $5 Fiverr logo. And if you're not a designer, they're not going to care. If you are a designer, it's obviously important, right? If you're selling design, you should probably have a good logo, right? But all the other stuff that I talked about before, I don't think it's necessarily that important at first. It does give you a little bit more credibility to your brand, but that's a whole other story. But that's kind of my overall strategy in 2020, right? And being a little bit more vulnerable, opening up to a lot of people, but I don't know how long setting up this stuff is going to take. And then on top of that, obviously, I have a lot of done-for-you services that I'm providing, and I do a lot of consulting work with people, whether that's helping them out with proposals or analyzing their ads and copy and analyzing what they've done in the past for their launches and letting them know why it didn't do well, giving them an action plan for the next steps. So yeah, that's really my overall plan for 2020 with social media. And heck, I gave you all that. You can go and implement all that yourself or get your team to do that. Whatever that looks like, I would just do what I said and go out and use that and crush it in 2020. Hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Underground Marketing Conspiracy. I am again Matty Milligan. You can find out more about me at mattymilligan.com. Consider subscribing, and if you're listening to this maybe on Spotify or iTunes, maybe you could leave a review. That would be greatly appreciated. That way I get some feedback to know how I am doing on these podcasts, and really just if I'm understanding problems of business owners as well. That is all for today. I will see you next time on another episode of The Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Woo!